Hey, welcome to another episode. So we have our motor built, and at this point we're ready to drop it in. All we're going to really do is replace our downpipe, because it's super easy to get to now. But other than that, we're ready to drop this motor in. You're stuck?
I'm actually stuck this time. I'll get it.
Do you need assistance?
Nope. Technical difficulties. Wait, what am I doing? What's different this time? Oh, that's it.
Prop rod's in the way. Hey, what's up, everybody? So you guys are excited to see this thing running and driving.
We're excited to see this
You
thing
have
running.
no idea how excited I am to drive my car finally, because I think I put maybe 500 miles on this thing since I bought it. So it's time to make it go and do all the choo-choos. So let's get into this thing.
Do it. Ah! Oh, just a little bit, just to hurt yourself, just a tad.
Just to hurt my ego.
Yep.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This is gonna roll out the garage. Just like ends up in the yard. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Is that recording?
Yeah, is that recording?
Dude, this is recording.
This is recording.
Yep.
Alright. Hey, what's up, everybody?
How's it going?
Welcome to another installment of the Mischief Garage Subaru build
Yep, hopefully
extraordinaire.
the finale, hopefully.
Yeah, it better be the finale. Better be the finale. We'll find out. So yeah, the day is finally here. Even though we're probably not going to finish this in a single day, but we'll edit it like it is, because you guys don't want to see a series of videos of us fighting to put this thing in there. Not that it's that difficult. It's just, if you ever worked on a Subaru, you'll totally get it.
Yep, but step one is to put the motor in.
It
right?
is.
Step two is to drive it.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally that
Two
easy.
steps.
Yeah, 2 whole steps. So yeah, motor is ready to go in the background, as you guys can hopefully see in that frame.
Yep, we do have our downpipe to put in.
Mm-hmm. We do got the pipe of down. We've got the existing downpipe to pluck out of there, so that's going to take a little bit of time. Hopefully not long. We'll see how seized up the bolts are. Anybody who lives in the Rust Belt knows that struggle.
We're in Minnesota.
It's
It'll be fun.
The worst. So, yeah, once we do that, we just toss the motor in it, and I got to talk to my tuner and make sure that the base map's ready to rock and roll, and that we're basically like they shut off the boost. Pretty much, you don't want to put a whole lot of boost under it in like the first 1,500 miles or so. So we'll get those couple things ready to roll, and we'll start breaking this motor in. Hopefully not breaking it. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. We don't. The luck we've been having lately.
I have confidence in this, though.
I do too.
It's a new motor.
We've got some cool stuff to move on to, so we
we have all sorts of
gotta get this thing done. So thanks you guys for staying on the journey thus far, and hopefully you've learned a thing or two and had a few laughs at our expense. So we're gonna start putting this motor in.
Let's go.
Yep. Second failure. All right, so we're at a pretty exciting point in the project now. Motor's kind of buttoned up, and all the hoses and nuts and bolts are theoretically tightened up.
Theoretically, just double check everything, make sure all the clamps are tight, everything's plugged in, don't have leftover parts, anything like that.
If you were smart enough to write up lists and bag stuff, double check all your bags, look at your list again. But here we are. So new downpipe is on, that fit pretty decently. There was a couple little fitment concerns with it, like the bracket that's holds it up to the transmission. I was only able to use one of the bolts, otherwise you're like really kind of prying on this thing to fit it in there, and it's just, you know, you want exhaust to just rest in place. So it already has a little bit of pressure on it, so we'll see how that goes in terms of fitment. But
yeah, we'll have to modify the heat shield as well. Slightly bigger turbo means the factory heat shield kind of rubs a little bit.
Yeah, it's the wastegate location on it. So the VF52 and the VF40 have some slight differences. So we're probably just gonna fabricate our own, really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a relatively simple thing. I don't have an English wheel, so I can't make something pretty and curved, but I mean, I can just take some sheet metal and bend up a nice little piece like the SPT ones or something. So we'll do something like that, but for the moment, it's not summer here, it's late into fall, so heat is not nearly as critical of a problem. But come summer, you know, by that point, especially if you're driving these things spirited, you kind of want to control the heat under the hood. And because I've got one of these SPT intakes, I'll probably end up fabricating some kind of a box for that too. It all just works against having detonation, so it's a good idea to isolate the heat as much as possible. So this is cool. We're at the point where we're gonna start adding some fluids into this thing. So a little piece of advice for everybody as far as priming the oil system goes on these for a first startup. It's really critical. You know, if you think about it, if you don't have the oiling system primed previous to starting it, everything's dry, or as dry as it is with the assembly lube in it. So it's a good idea to prime the system. These cars are actually fairly easy to do that. Best practice is to remove your spark plugs and disconnect the crank angle sensor.
Yeah, so that way you don't get any spark. Make sure you have your relay out for your fuel pump as well. Yeah, you don't want to be dumping fuel into the cylinders.
Yep, and if just simply going by the sensor itself, like the dummy light on the dash, that's a pressure sensor, and it's not going to know the difference between air pressure and oil pressure. So even though it might go off, it actually might mean that there's just air inside of the system that's compressed to the point where it registers pressure inside of it. So you don't necessarily want to go off of that. What we're going to do is we're going to crack the oil feed line, because in the oil system, that's kind of like the last point. So if we know that we've got oil there, we know that we've got oil everywhere else in the system. So we'll do that. We'll crack that. We'll make sure that a little bit of oil flows out of it, rebolt everything back down, and then crank just a tiny bit more. Yep. And then we're pretty much good to go. Then the whole oil system and the oil pump's primed and all of that stuff. So that's probably the best way to do it, but I have heard of some people using Vaseline inside of the oil pumps to help kind of create really good vacuum in it. I guess, you know, you can probably do that. I haven't done it.
I've never tried it.
This is based off of feedback from the guy who does my tuning, as well as IAG. So kind of a lot of trust in their processes, so we're going to go off of that. If you do take them out, there's no pressure in the system, so the starter gets to spin faster, so it's going to pressurize the oil system faster. So
while we also have the intercooler off, now is a good time to top off your transmission fluid.
Good point.
You do lose a little bit when you take the radiator out.
Yeah.
So just make sure you...
sad bastard like me and you drive an auto.
So just make sure all your fluid levels are correct, and then after that, add coolant.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Right. That's it. So we're top these things off and start priming the oil system, and hopefully we'll start it. Hopefully.
We'll see.
Yep. All right. Alright, crank angle sensor removed. All right, and so you're going to be using the mason jar in the...
To make some moonshine.
A little bit of shine. Those Appalachian boys.
Yep.
All right, sweet.
Just kind of hold it here.
Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. Oil's in the system. Crank angle sensor is disconnected. No fuel pump. All right. All right, and you do this in 15 to 20 second bursts. So I'll just... Huh. That's weird.
Starter not lined up properly?
I don't know. I'll put it in. I mean, the battery shouldn't be shit.
Sounds like the starter's hitting something.
Yeah, it does. Excited to finally do this.
Start her up.
You started it up?
Yep.
Alright. Woo.
Yeah! Good.
machines asking for the paint that they tossed. Just kind of setting in finally. Yeah. It runs.
Yeah.
It freaking runs.
Yeah, it runs. After all this hard work, we're there. New terms,
Do everything.
new and everything. Yeah. It seems to be doing this stuff just fine. So I think maybe we'll just shut her down. Shut her down, check it all. Yes.